Okay, is that microphone working? Okay, great. Yeah, it's about time to start. Wake up again, everybody. What I'm talking about today, coming back again to that topic of LibreOffice extensions and the implications they have on us developers doing our work, or how they sometimes hinder us. So to see what the issue is with extensions, that's the same bubbly that earlier today was all in praise of extensions, how they help us by keeping all this extra stuff out of our way, of the developer's way. But of course there's also implications to that, and in the end nobody of us developers does love extensions. Because what's the summary? They keep getting into our way. We always need to make take care that those points where the extensions can interact with the core, that these points keep working. And it's not even always easy to tell what these points exactly are, and whether if you do something you'll actually break them in a way that extensions no longer will work. For example, do you spot the error in the previous conversation? Torsten, do you? No. The error in there, the bug. Where's the thing that that's not an ABI problem with the LED and the light bulbs, because the LED bulb is a perfect replacement for the light bulb. So from the interface perspective it is. And that's what counts here.
Not from the fire resulting in it.
And if anybody is curious what we developers do all the day, then come join us on our IRC channel, and you'll get a quite different picture of what you might have thought LibreOffice developers are doing for a day job. So yeah, as that example shows, it's sometimes difficult to tell if that incompatible, will that prove to be a problem for our extensions or not. Then on the other side of the divide, there's the users and the extension authors, and they send bug reports. This is one random example, more or less. Something stopped working. The interesting bit about this bug report is that it is due to some commit that I did. That's not the interesting part. There's more of those. The interesting part is that I thought long and hard about whether actually doing this change would be compatible or incompatible. And what this boils down to is that in our C++ code we have different types representing the UNO types, and there's one type for UNO character, and that used to be the same type as the one we used for the small unsigned integer types, and because C++ wasn't expressive enough in its type system to have different types for these, so they were combined into one. Come along C++11 with a new type for larger characters, so we finally were able to split these two into two. That makes the code easier. There's some special cases in the code that can go away. There's even some bugs lurking in the code because one type was used of the other one in places where it shouldn't be. So, and on the interface for C++ extensions, I checked carefully that there was no place where this would cause any problems. So there shouldn't be any problem with C++ extensions. But as it turned out, it caused a problem for basic code, because there was a bug in the writer core C++ code. There is one case where you can have a value that is a single character. You usually don't have that because it doesn't make much sense anyway with Unicode to speak about single characters or single UTF-16 values. But there was one case where there's some separator for some sorting, and I don't know. The bug in Hairdo was that it used the integer type instead of the character type, and the problem with BASIC is that it doesn't have a character type either. So it puts in when you want to use that interface from BASIC, you put in an integer value representing the character, and now suddenly Hairdo started to no longer accept an integer there, but insisted on having a character, and that broke it. And there was no way for BASIC to fix that in BASIC and put in a character. So first I thought, oh my God, I broke everything, because now with that change, there's no longer any interoperability between the BASIC code and the Hairdo code. But then I checked carefully that there's just this one place where things go wrong, and I said, I'll just fix that and sweep it under the carpet, and you never know about that issue. So again, to summarize, the other side of the divide, the users and the extensions authors, they don't like incompatible change, of course. And again, it's sometimes quite hard to tell whether a change is compatible or incompatible. You try to do your best, and still you get it wrong. So coming back to the start of the talk, this is where we are having problems with these beloved extensions. But we as the core developers, I mean, I for one can't even operate the Impress part to create decent slides, and far less do I know what people out there use LibreOffice for to create extensions and stuff like that. So extensions for us core developers are always these scared beasts out there in the wild that you rarely do spot, and you don't know much about them. So is this caring about extensions, thinking, oh my God, I'll have to be careful to not break anything there, because it's something that is, legend tells that it is a place where extensions plug in. Is that all wasted fears because we don't even have any extensions, or are all these extensions so ugly that you don't want to care about them anyway? So yeah, I wanted to learn on what side of this guinea pig divide we are, whether we are the ugly one or the more beautiful one. So went to the newly revamped. Andreas not here. No, he did most of the part of the work there to get this to get our extension side into better shape again, and into decent shape. And yeah, let's look at what we actually have. And if you try to list all these extensions that are out there on this official kind of page, then you get to the number of 308 ones that we have. And that should be an interesting sample to look at. So what I did, whistled a little, downloaded all these, or tried to download them all through the website. The issue is that you can either host them on the website directly or have them on your own and linked to that, but sometimes there were no links, or at least I was too dumb to find those links. So 71 of them, I couldn't find any artifacts to download. Maybe Andreas, if he would be here, would know where I went wrong. For others, I tried hard to find some, even went in 2 cases to that SourceForge abomination and found the stuff there. But long story short, the rest of them, there was some kind of noise around there, some some things that weren't packaged up correctly. I guess it's quite hard for somebody who wants to produce a dictionary for LibreOffice to actually do the final steps of creating this OXT file. There's some details in there that are difficult, so some people put up other artifacts there. Only a small percentage. So many of our extension authors are great in having overcome that not small hurdle of actually producing such an OXT file. And of those 228 remaining that I downloaded and looked into their manifest files, the picture is that 81 of them don't include any code at all. So they are typically they are dictionaries or gallery images, and what you need to do there is provide the pure data plus some configuration data that tells LibreOffice where the files in this extension are, like telling LibreOffice that there is a dictionary file contained in that. So there's always some configuration data in every extension, but many of them just contain that and nothing more, and people are happy with that. Then there were also 81 that just contain basic code, besides also containing configuration data. Typically, all of them typically do. So 81 just contained basic. 28 were Python, some kind of ladder up in the complexity of these languages probably. 22 were Java. There were 5 that used scripting in some way, mostly Python again. And just 4 of them, just 4, were C++, where we have the most fears of breaking anything. And that included even 2 different versions of the same extension that we even built bundled with LibreOffice itself, and you build it there. We built the code, so that's an easy one to keep track of. And 7 of them, I don't know what was in there. I couldn't find anything, so my scripting maybe was broken. So that's quite reassuring for us that most of them make very little use of the points that we offer for plugin. And the ones that actually even do, like the basic ones, we have that well under control, because the basic code is part of the LibreOffice code, or the code to execute basic is ours to control. So if we find out that we break something badly there, we could always build in scaffolding there to alleviate these problems and make them go away again. And ironically, the things that we as developers think about most when we think about do we break anything with an incompatible change, that's the one that in practice matter the least. I don't know if there's beyond those few that are actually in the extension store, if there's a larger corpus of C++ extensions out there. Don't need to worry that much about this right away, so these numbers are tied out. And that's kind of what I wanted to tell you today.
So the message is forget that API stability, everything goes?
No, not exactly, I think.
So Sally is open season on Sally. It's okay, we can do it now.
We maybe, I mean, you still don't want to, these 3 to 4 people out there that are doing the extensions. I'm not sure how much we want to alienate them, but yeah.
Well, I think there are two parts of that story, and the most important part is
Then we'll have to hear about it.
We don't want that. Björn, we don't.
Well, and if we do make the other extension, Java extension, that also. I'm sorry, Stefan, to set up make files and stuff to the SDK.
What was it? Sorry, I was busy with that.
The whole setup and stuff of the SDKs.
Oh, that's working like a charm.
Right.
If you know what to do. Yeah, that's another. Sure. I mean, I was impressed by the number of actually working extensions there, because, as I said, it's hard to do these, and all my sympathy to these people out there who feel the pain doing these. Torsten.
And so, I mean, this is quite a small sample, I think, what is out there in the real world, and a significant selection bias on top. So at least I would think looking at the OpenOffice extension repository would be worthwhile, and I know there's a number of those source proprietary
Archaeology or something like
well, if the conclusion is there's nothing, or there's just 4, and then you draw, if you make decisions based on that conclusion, then perhaps the input data should be more.
Yeah, it's.
So I know at least 2 C++, piece of software that does use C++ binding, and it's naturally speaking. It's a rather generic OpenOffice binding to remove control that, and the historical German checking dictionary that is continued simply because
yeah, but the problem is always, as I said, we don't know much about them, we don't hear much about them. As long as they work, we don't hear anything. Many of them apparently even don't come to us if things start to break, so it's really difficult for us to draw anything from that. But there was one more question over here, so I think we're running late, so if you can raise.
All these languages, basic, Java and Python, they all use underneath, right?
Yes.
Even basic. There's no.
There is basic is different in that it has a more direct access, but you can also use things from basic, and the interoperability things, or is mostly about the parts. So the rest of this basic runtime is rather not relevant to this discussion here.
Stuff I can do in basic, I can also do in all the other languages.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you.